All right, the Payne's fans. Now, first off, I am pleasantly surprised that any video I do regarding the Paynes has done extremely well on the channel. So, with that being said, I now know to do more videos focusing on the show. But I just wanted to do a quick video answering a question that a lot of fans have been asking. Hey, where are the babies at? Calvin and Miranda's babies, as well as CJ and Janine's babies. And I just wanted to say that it makes sense that they weren't in the opening episode because, again, can you imagine having Calvin, CJ and Janine had twins, right? And then Calvin had a couple of his own. I believe he had Calvin Jr., but I don't know. Wasn't he written off the show? And then he also had a baby with Miranda, if I'm not mistaken. So based off of that, I can see why that, a few, almost half a dozen toddlers in that cramped RV wouldn't have been a good move. But also given the fact that it really was more of a farewell, and when I say farewell, I mean temporary farewell, for Curtis and Ella to move down to Florida and then have the rest of the main cast kind of, go back to Atlanta, Georgia, and most likely come back as reoccurring characters later on in the season, because it's more about Curtis and Ella establishing themselves in a new home while also bringing in Joanne and the rest of the new cast. Now, I'm really thinking that if maybe during the holidays, depending on when the show is written, let's say if we have the back half of the first season of the Paynes sometime in the fall, maybe they'll do a Christmas episode. I know they were really good about doing holiday episodes in House of Payne. I think the one I remember the most was the Ebenezer Scrooge theme episode where Medea is the ghost of Christmas past and carries Curtis, past, present, and future. So it wouldn't surprise me if there really is going to be a time where we see Calvin, CJ, and everybody come back at different points to visit, Aunt Ella and Uncle Curtis. So I really do believe that the babies will eventually come back into the series. The question is, will they have aged? I mean, at this point, there will be 3 to 5 or something along those lines, because it has been 5 years since the House of Payne ended. So I mean, to my knowledge, I would speculate that everybody has quote unquote aged 5 years as well. And literally, if you look at the scenes that we had, I mean, you could literally count on one hand all the scenes we had within the first 3 episodes of the Paynes. We had everybody in the RV, the house that Curtis bought, as well as the the laundromat, and then the inside of the church. And that's pretty much it. So given those circumstances, number one, pretty sure if the toddlers were there, they would have most likely left them in the RV when they got to the house and laundromat, due to the fact that they didn't want to bring their kids into a place that most likely need to be infestated and built from the ground up, renovated. So I mean, literally based off that alone, I can see why those kids weren't brought into the series yet. But again, I think about Fuller House, prime example, a spin-off of the original, focusing on other main cast members, where I believe it's DJ, Stephanie, and Kimmy living in the same house, while the rest of the characters were back for the first episode. We're talking Uncle Joy, Uncle Jesse, Danny, Aunt Becky, and then we also have their twins who grew up. So I'm thinking the same thing happened on House of Payne between House of Payne and the Paynes. The kids will show up at different points. So I do believe they will come back to the show. Nothing is confirmed, but those are just my open thoughts on it. So with that being said, I just wanted to do this video because a lot of people have been asking in the comments of the videos, where are the babies at? And remember, they were mentioned to be watched over by somebody back in Atlanta, so they aren't by themselves. They didn't just leave them there alone, like it's Home Alone, except for people half the age of Kevin McAllister. So with that being said, what do you think? Do you think CJ, Miranda, Janine, and Calvin's toddlers will show up at some point during the Paynes? And I'll catch you later.